The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We are on over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We're on Radio Wa in Wa, Ganga FM in Jirapa, ATL FM in Cape Coast, Kaleo FM in Akachi, KTU Radio in Koforidua. You can also listen live on Twitter Spaces, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com app. This afternoon.
The
reason for our demonstration today is because of the fuel price increment.
We are not moving. Any driver trying to work will be dealt with.
Rising fuel prices continue to bite hard, while some commercial drivers have abandoned terminals, leaving passengers stranded. Others have opted to hike transport fares, resulting in heated exchanges with passengers.
Now, drivers are suffering. So what I would say is that nobody can blame a driver now.
But the reality is that there's no money sitting anywhere, which can be used from petroleum revenues to cushion consumers at this point.
We have details for you. Also, pressure mount on government as new global info analytics opinion poll indicates close to 80% of respondents believe government has failed to effectively handle the current economic crisis, compelling more than 50% of respondents to call for the president to step down. We have details of that. Also, will show the NPP at the exit in 2024 for neglecting us, former NPP constituency chairpersons.
Akufo-Addo gave us the promise that any constituency chairman will make sure that we'll resource you massively. We'll make sure that you get MC or DC. Why?
An IMF talks to delay presentation of 2023 budget as majority leader reviews the statutory time of 15th November to present the budget statement may not be met. In sports.
Former Ghana coach Siki Akono expresses optimism in the Black Stars technical members ahead of the World Cup, despite the team attaining 2 outright victories since February.
And much later, find out why Latif Idris is turning an attack on him during his coverage of a demonstration into something positive for journalism in Ghana.
There are a lot of organizations doing media advocacy. We want to give meaning to the protection of journalists.
Thanks for choosing us. This is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. We have more here on the Midday News. Please stay for details. Many thanks for your company. So the last 24 hours has seen multiple protests by some commercial drivers in the central and the Shanti regions, also in the northeast region. This has left passengers stranded. Back here in Accra, some of the drivers have opted to, on their own, increase transport fares. Petroleum products are currently selling for as much as 23 cedis per litre at the pumps. Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Samuel Amwa, says adjusting fares is the only way of ensuring members stay on the roads.
When we came back and we called a meeting, we called our members, our drivers, and told them about this 90%. Actually, they were not happy about it. And then the next day, the fuel price went up again. And even as of last 3 days, now diesel is being sold for about 23 cedi, 49 pesos. So, in fact, the drivers were not able to hold it again, and they call for another increment based on where the fuel price has gone to and all the other components. So, yesterday, another 20%. The drivers also increased by 20% again.
So, Mr. Amwa, you're telling me that apart from the 20% that was added, you've added another 20%, making it 40% on apart from what you agreed.
That is correct, Ben. Yesterday, it happened. Yesterday, another 20% has been added to the old 20%, making 40. Because, you can see there are some places drivers were even parked their vehicles. They decided not to go to work because they can't go to work, and at the close of the day, they can't even get money to buy fuel, as to getting money to make their sales and get something to be taken home. Someone may ask that why is it that we didn't go to the government again for another negotiation? Yes, this is what we were supposed to do. Now drivers are suffering. So what I would say is that nobody can blame a driver now, because even the government is not able to cushion the citizen.
Samuel Lamwa is a spokesperson for the GPRTU. I'll take you to the Ashanti region now, where commercial drivers at Efijiase are on a 2-day strike over the fuel prices. This has left commuters stranded. Love FM's Nanabwachi Dankwa puts a spotlight on the action.
Here at the Efijiase station, drivers have refused to move their vehicles due to the high increase of fuel and diesel prices. They are complaining that the increment in fuel and diesel prices is really affecting them.
The reason for our demonstration today is because of the fuel price increment. We are not able to accrue our profit after long hours of work. This is the reason why we have increased the price of The BCE has spoken to us.
Free Saturday and a petrol 630.
The petrol price increment is unreasonable to us. Every time we go to the pump station, we are made to pay extra cash. Until government intervenes, we are not working in the next 3 days.
The situation is the same in the Ahafo region. Here are some of the drivers there.
Fuel is expensive. They have increased the fare to 45 cedis. That's what we work with. Now fuel is 105 cedis. From 3 a.m., no car will move from here. Anyone should try and move and see, unless we are allowed to increase fares or they reduce fuel prices. The roads are not good. We spend money on spare parts, not to talk of fuel. The increment happens, we are not moving. Any driver trying to work will be dealt with.
So at the Commander Edina Egwa for Ebri municipality of the Central Region, the drivers have this morning adjusted fares. Now this comes barely 24 hours after they had also staged their own protest, leaving passengers stranded. We stay a while longer on petroleum matters, and a former CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Alex Mould, is warning of an impending credit crunch that could cause fuel prices to rise even further on the international market. He's been speaking on PM Express.
And I don't know who is advising the president. It was wrong for him to come and say he's going to get affordable, to make people in this country believe that it can happen. It's not going to happen. We are not going to have any cheap products coming into the country. If you do, you may have it for 1 or 2 cargoes, but you can't have it on a sustainable basis. Secondly, the biggest problem this country is going to face in the next few months is the credit crunch. And the government needs to face this problem, having Bank of Ghana, the BDCs, and the NPA work at this very, very well to make sure that we don't get blacklisted. The BDCs don't get blacklisted. I even heard that Boss is trying to import products. Everybody needs letters of credit. Everybody is chasing the same foreign exchange. Bank of Ghana and the government of Ghana need to address the foreign exchange problem.
That's the former CEO of the NPA, Alex Mould. Well, we've heard from the minority calling on government to cushion consumers. We can hear from energy analysts who thinks this call is impossible.
We are told that government is broke. The president says we are in crisis. I wouldn't assume that there's money sitting anywhere at this point. We may call for accountability on how we are, where we are, but the reality is that there's no money sitting anywhere, which can be used from petroleum revenues to cushion consumers at this point. The issue about going somewhere to go and look for cheaper fuel, I think is a waste of our time. We are oil producers, right? I don't think anybody can come to Ghana and say, sell your product to us at a cheaper rate. It's not going to happen. If anybody at all agrees to give you a cheaper fuel, you must be trading something for that. What are you giving to deserve a rebate from anybody else's production or anybody else's refinery?
That's Executive Director of ASEP, Ben Boache there. Well, the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors says government can issue fuel coupons to transport operators as a way of minimizing the impact of the hikes. Dr. Patrick Kufori is the CEO.
I think maybe government can issue something like fuel coupon like it's done in some countries, like the food coupons for some category of people who are in need, so that fuel arrangement could be linked between the transport operators and then maybe some selected OMCs, so that they know that they can coexist, and then they pick some quantum of product at a certain discounted rate. And if we are all going to also be honest about such processes, it will ensure that at least some form of burden is taken over from the ordinary man on the street who is moving with his trotro or going to use a passenger car. Another aspect that maybe we could do is looking at other forms of efficiency and then a public transport system that seek to address some of the congestion that Kojopoko and others spoke about. How do we ensure that the rail system and other forms of transportation, the public transport system, is efficiently run and managed to ensure that passengers don't feel the full rigors of these commercial rates that are coming?
That's Patrick Ofori. He's the CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. Well, business is booming for the Ghana Railway Company Limited. They say the patronage of its services have shot up significantly since fuel prices and transport fares started surging. The company says passenger numbers have doubled in the last week alone. It is now considering adding more coaches to its Accra service. We'll hear from the company shortly, but first, though, a report by my colleague Kojo Brace, who parked his vehicle to join scores of people who joined the trip from Tema to Accra.
So I'm at the Asopochonas train station, boarding the train to work today because the prices of fuel is on the increase. So I had to park my car somewhere and to pick the train. Surprisingly, I wasn't alone. There were several people like myself who had come to park their cars and are here with me on this train.
The economic situation, we need to say that's where as of now, I'm having my own but I have to.
So, what would you tell the Ghana Railway Company to do?
Yes, what they are doing.
That's my colleague Samuel Kojo Brace, and apology for the real sounds in there. But we can hear from the Ghana Railway Company Limited, Roy Brown, who is the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Railway Company Limited.
As we speak now presently, okay, in terms of patronage, it has gone on the high. And if I'm to go further, just even yesterday, we exceeded our normal intake in the sense that, the commercial train is normally supposed to take around 335 passengers. But yesterday and then a day before, we exceeded. Yesterday, for example, was around 300, which means we exceeded. And then just even today, this morning, it went on the high, around 381, 82 about. So that clearly tells you that people have now accepted the train, then they are patronizing the service. In terms of even the setup of the train in general, okay, it is so spacious. And in addition, okay, the seats are so comfortable and so wide that naturally a seat that is meant for even one person can accommodate two or more people. But then going forward, we also plan that we'll add another coach. The coaches are supposed to be 6, but currently we are running 5 coaches. If I say coaches, where you have the seat, fitted in there.
That's Roy Brown, is the Ghana Railway Company Public Relations Officer. You have choices, now you know. Now, some Ghanaians have expressed displeasure about the way government is handling the current economic situation. Results from the just released Global Info Analytics Opinion Poll reveal about 54% of Ghanaian respondents want the president to resign. Majority of the respondents believe the president has not handled the current economic crisis well. My colleague Isaac Kofieje has a copy of the report. He joins me in studio for a quick chat on it. Kofi, walk us through the methodology and key highlights of the poll.
Right, Emefa, so sample size 1,407 Ghanaians. A confidence level was 99, and this was across all 16 regions. So respondents were asked a very simple question. Do you think the government is handling the economic crisis well? 79% said no, 20% said yes, whilst 2% said they were indifferent. Now, respondents were again asked, if you were to tell government one thing that they could do to help with the crisis, which of the following would you want them to address urgently? 35% said they would want government to stabilize the cedi against the dollar, and also 27% said government should reduce taxes on fuel. 34% said government should stabilize prices of goods, and 0% were indifferent.
Well, let's talk about the breakdown in terms of political affiliation of these respondents.
So the same question: do you think government is handling the current economic crisis well? If you look at the political affiliation, respondents who participated and were NPP, 68% said they feel government is not handling the economic situation well. 30% said yes, they feel government is handling it well, and 2% are indifferent. If you look at NDC, 87% of them said no, 12% said yes, 1% indifferent. If you look at floating voters, 81% said no, 18% said yes, and 1% were indifferent.
So both President Akufo-Addo and former President John Mahama have all spoken about the recent economic situation. So which of the two speeches gave respondents more hope according to the report?
So if you look at the hope and then its percentages, 16% said they had hope in President Akufo-Addo's speech. 56% said Mahama's speech gave them more hope, and then 11% said both speeches gave hope. 2% were also indifferent.
Thank you very much. That's a data analyst with Joy Research Desk, Isaac Kofieje. Now, about 148 former constituency chairmen of the New Patriotic Party have across the country have expressed their displeasure against President Akufo-Addo for allegedly neglecting them. Some of them claim to have sold their properties and spent huge resources to campaign for the party in the 2016 and 2020 elections, but promises of President Akufo-Addo to reward them with various positions have not been honored. Seidu Adams is former chairman for Sampa constituency.
As we are telling you right now, some of the chairmen, our wives, we don't have peace in the house. Because the resources that we were having to be taking care of our family, we use everything 2016, 2020 to campaign for this party. Because of that, some of our wives are not even neglecting us. They don't want to even see us. Right now, we are suffering in the constituencies. Our resources to campaign for the party. What do we get out of the party? That is what they are asking us. Akufo-Addo gave us the promise that any constituency chairman will make sure that we will resource you massively. We will make sure that you get MC or DC. Why?
Now, the aggrieved NPP chairmen say President Akufo-Addo has failed to heed their calls and petitions despite the huge role they played to see him in power.
If that is what NPP wants us to be useless in our constituency into our family, then we are also afraid that 2024 we will also neglect them. We will make sure that the party, NPP party, will do all our powers. How we did and brought the party to power, we also do all our powers. The party should go to opposition. All of it. If Papa in there, Bonusu in there.
Well, let me take you to Parliament now, and the Majority Leader, Osei Mensah-Bonsu, was revealed that the current negotiation with the International Monetary Fund will delay the presentation of the 2023 budget. The Public Financial Management Act mandates the budget is presented by the 15th of this month, but speaking to journalists, Osei Mensah-Bonsu said a team from the IMF is expected in the country next week for further talks, and it's unlikely the budget will come off as stipulated.
Because arguably, the budget is the work program, and it's arguably the program, the greatest program that is of its that's presented to the House by any government. We need to spend time to look at it. I'm not too sure as I sit here. I still have to have some discussions with the Minister responsible for Finance to determine exactly when we'll be able to submit the document to us. As you do know, the Public Financial Management Act provides that the budget should be presented to the House latest the 15th of this month. The discussions that are going on now involving the
the IMF, I think it's going to take a little bit of a while. My understanding is that it will go into the first few days of next week, around the 10th or so. If that is the case, we then have to strand out the conclusions and factor them into the budget. And after we've succeeded in doing that, because it's a budget for government, you have to go before cabinets for some discussions, integrations, and maybe additions and subtractions.
That's the majority leader, Osei Mensah-Bonsu, there, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM, also on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Let's see if we have our parliamentary correspondent, Kweku Asante, joining us via Zoom with further details on what currently is happening in Parliament. Kweku, first off, though, did the majority leader indicate when exactly we are able to get the budget reading? It doesn't look like I have Kweku Asante of technical challenges, and I'll try and connect to Kweku subsequently and get further details from Parliament. But when we return, we have sport. We've been looking at more pressure mounting on government as new global info analytics opinion poll indicates close to 80% of respondents believe government has failed to effectively handle the current economic crisis, compelling more than 50% of these respondents to call for President Akufo-Addo to step down. We have sport, and then also find out why Lateef Idris is turning an attack on him during his coverage of a demonstration into something positive for journalism in Ghana.
There are a lot of organizations doing media advocacy. We want to give meaning to the protection of journalists.
Much later, also, we'll talk about the 12th edition of Adum Praise Festival, which is here just a day away.
Bringing me this far, turn my life around.
Charlie, in life, something must kill you. And for me, Rock GH, they kill me with juicy local shows, movies, and soaps all week, every week. See, from Monday to Thursday at 9 p.m., Office Palava kills me with laughter and kasa. Then at 9:30 p.m. from Monday to Friday, Odomu Wahala kills me with suspense and drama overload. Then, third Friday of every month is Fresh New Movies Night. Tune into Rock GH on DSTV channel 164 or GoTV channel 117. Rock GH, home of Ghanaian entertainment.
But why all this laughter?
Kweku gave me 6,000 cedis for shopping for some electrical appliances.
Yes, what about that?
I came home with exactly what he ordered, and I still had 3,000 Ghana cedis on me.
Wow, but it's only NASCO offering this promotion this season.
Of course, yes, it's NASCO. You think you are the only one who knows NASCO brings home happiness? He's been wondering why I don't ask him for money after the shopping.
That's 50% discount power. This season, a NASCO massive discount inquiry. It's NASCO new promo. What are you waiting for? This season, we are offering massive discounts up to 50%. Yes, on selected items from NASCO.
Call 0242 439 437. NASCO, bring home happiness.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports.
Yes, Emefa, former Ghana coach Sika Akono wants Ghanaians to adopt a positive attitude towards Coach Otto-Addo and the chances of the Black Stars in the impending FIFA World Cup. Now, Ghana's build-up for Qatar 2022 has failed to inspire hope after suffering a 3-0 defeat at the hands of Brazil before a solitary win over Nicaragua, the second outright victory of the technical team in 8 matches. But Akono, who was in charge of the national team for 20 months, believes the technical team will impress at the global showpiece.
An improvement, But I think we should not panic. We've been to the World Cup 3 times. This is our 4th time we're going. We've played teams that we've played before. We're going to play teams that we've played before. We shouldn't panic. I don't see. Yes, if you lose to Brazil, yes, maybe 3-0 was maybe a bit of on the high. But it's Brazil, you know something, and you won against Nicaragua, not too convincing, but we won. You understand me? It's positive. Let's speak on the positives, and from now onwards, I think the idea of criticizing, saying this, no. Otuado is our coach now. He's got Didi Dramani. He's got George Boateng, Chris Hughes. Guys are not, they know about the game. They understand the game. Chris is a huge guy. You know, spoke to him. When you talk to them, you can clearly see you're on the field already. They know what the game is about. They will help Otuado and who will do well.
CK Akonode, that's your spot.
Thank you very much. Now, for Tech Thursday today, we speak to some students at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology who have developed an app called Side Talk to help doctors communicate effectively with patients who have hearing and speech impairment. Kwesi Deborah has our report for Tech Thursday today.
Side Talk seeks to solve the problem by being a first step initiative to bring the hearing and speech impaired community back into society by bridging the deeply rooted communication gap. It does this by providing features that allow speech to sign language translation and sign language to speech translation. For the speech to sign language translation, Side Talk allows a health professional to speak into their device's microphone and translate their speech into sign language by showing the hearing and speech impaired patient videos or sign language that represent exactly what the health professional said.
Now, it does that by leveraging the power of computer vision and then deep learning by allowing the patient who is hearing or vision impaired to sign in front of their camera and then extract their signs, the signs that they have made, and convert that directly into speech, which will be played audibly to the doctor, to the hearing of the doctor, so that they can understand themselves. By doing this, Side Talk serves as a communication facilitator and then a translator for this kind of situation where a patient goes to the hospital and then wants to communicate with the doctor.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Now, he was mobbed by a group of policemen dressed to combat rioters. They kicked him in the back, stomach, chest, and was hit multiple times with the butt of the AK-47 rifle and left him with life-threatening head injuries. Worse of it, there's still no justice for him years on. But this is not stopping Joy News' Latif Idris. He's vowed to now help his colleague journalists to stay safe whilst they perform their duties. He's leading the campaign to equip journalists in Ghana against brutalities. There's more in the following report.
Joy News' Latif Idris on March 27, 2018 was cruelly beaten nearly to death at the headquarters of the Ghana Police Service. He wasn't beaten by criminals, but by police personnel while covering a protest. For 4 years, he has battled with head injuries sustained on that day, even after treatments both home and abroad. The brutal and shameful attack on Latif is not isolated. A report by the Media Foundation for West Africa on media professionalism and safety of journalists and media houses in Ghana indicated that within the first 5 months of the year, 25 journalists had been attacked physically. To advocate for and ensure that journalists are protected mainly during field works like protests or demonstrations, Latif Idris has set up the Journalist Sanctuary International. On Wednesday, the organization presented military standard helmets and bulletproof vests to some selected media houses, including the Multimedia Group. Professor Audrey Gajapo is a director of the Journalist Sanctuary International.
I'm here with your own Latif Idrisu. When we watch international news, we see our colleague journalists, when they go out into the battlefield, and battlefield largely defined because it's not only in war zones, but in Latif's case, for example, a demonstration, they protect themselves to guard against injury. And so Latif started this initiative, and I'm happy to be one of his directors and supporters to procure protective gear for journalists when they go out into the field.
Latif Idris hopes other journalists won't suffer what he did.
There are a lot of organizations doing media advocacy. We want to give meaning to the protection of journalists.
That's my colleague Latif Idris ending that report, and it's just a day away. A day we've all been waiting for. It's Adum Praise Music Festival 2022. I'll let you in on some of the artists who will join Travis Green on stage. They include Edwin Datsin, Perez Music, Jack Kalolomi, amongst several others. We can hear from programs director at Adum FM, Josh Tigo, on how you can get a ticket and how much that it will cost.
This is what is going to happen tomorrow. We would give our patrons a moment that maybe they haven't had in about 2 or 3 years because of COVID, and that's why we are bringing in Travis. Let me also add that we've suffered criticism from some segment of the Christian community, especially from our friends in the SDA faith, who have said that we haven't featured a lot of their artists. Okay. So this year, Makanim, a seasoned SDA is going to be on the bill. We've made it possible for people to purchase tickets using Momo merchant number 0245 293599. It's a First National Bank merchant number.
And we are meeting tomorrow at the Perez Dome for Adum Praise 2022. You can't miss it. And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM, on Love 99.5 FM, and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We're live, and there's more on myjoyonline.com. 2023 budgets may delay as IMF talks stall statement, and that's a majority leader. That and more there. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otapel. Have a good afternoon.